afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the garage. About 3 o'clock on the 9th of January. Back over to continue work on the bonnet here. Today is going to be filler day. Trying to get all the spots that I've got remaining fillered up. You can see that the nose is still, especially around there, not in that great a shape, but I think I'm going to call it good on that. The one spot that I am kind of worried about it is right here, and it's hard for me to feel in that because I got some curves going on. But I think this might be high here, so obviously filler is not going to work in there. I'm going to have to knock that down. Not quite sure how I'm going to come through that quite yet. But some other spots, obviously still some dings and dents around here, but nothing too major. If you remember also, I didn't get the full good 2 coats on this thing of epoxy last time, so it'll definitely need some more love and attention for that. But otherwise, I'm just going to make out in small batches since I've got so much area to cover here. If I try to do it all at once, I'm going to definitely cure up on me. So I'm going to start on the wings and work my way to the center here and just go through and see how it goes. The passenger side wing here, I've got a long sanding block, 18-inch full-size sanding block here. And I've just got 220 grit on it, kind of used 220 grit, so probably more like 300 grit. And all I'm going to do again, like I did in the last video, is just go ahead and scuff that up, looking for the highs and lows so I can find what I need to do for the filler work. Alright, so that's what I'm looking at. All the highs and lows. The darker spots that you see are the low areas. Not too many surprises. A couple spots that I need to get to. So I'm going to mix up some filler. Got a couple high spots here. I'm going to knock them down real quick just to kind of get them out of the way. Again, it's harder to do the filler of the high spots, obviously, because it wants to stick out. And then, yeah, so we're going to move on from there. So I'm going to clean it up now, get some wax and grease remover on it just to get the dust off that I just put on there and get some filler down. Again, I'm in the 7-day window on the epoxy primer. As long as you're within that 7-day window for the Southern Polyurethanes epoxy primer, you can put anything on top of it that you want. So I'm well within that 7-day window. Sunday was over here when I was over here, so we'll get some filler on there. Alright, first round of filler on there. Down here, I didn't quite make it. Down in that lower left-hand corner, ran out. Didn't want to mix up too much, so a little short there. So now I'm just going to transition on the very inside of the wing here and just take care of that part. I don't think there's too much in here at all, except for this spot back here, which is pretty bad. And then I'll come back and start sanding on this. Again, I don't want to do this whole thing all in one shot. I kind of want to take it in sections here, so that's what I'm trying to do. Alright, so I have essentially this portion of the wing out to the center mark, sanded up. Low spots in here like I knew about. A couple other spots here, not so hot back in here. Again, I think this might be some battery damage or something, just maybe slamming down with the battery not fully in place. I don't know, something like that. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more filler here, get that covered too, and then I'll come back to this side that I just did and get that sanded down and see where I stand. Alright, so moving along on sanding down the filler. So, pretty good. All that static electricity. Pretty good low spot right there. I'll have to refill that. Still got a lot of sanding scratches in here and everything. So I'll probably just slather it on this entire spot here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Down here, this is warped a little bit, so this whole panel kind of sneaks in like this. So I'll probably just start about here and run a thin layer down there just to kind of true that up a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy over there. I could probably put quite a bit of filler. And then down here, there's another little low spot. I might be able to, if you can kind of see, that whole thing's kind of all over the place. I'm not going to stress out too much about this down here. There's no support in here. I think I can chase this kind of stuff all day. So it's not really worth it to me to try to do so. So again, I'll hit this over here, hit this side over here, and get this in and over here. And I think it still needs some sanding work and everything to get the 40 and 80 grit scratches out of it. But that's looking okay. Now I'll go down and sand this out over here, and we'll see what that ends up. Everything came out pretty good for the most part. I'm gonna call this area probably pretty good. Found a couple more low spots right up that seam, if you can see that dark stuff, and I can feel those too. So I'm going to put some filler on that. Got a real light low spot here. I'm going to put a little bit on that. If you can see here, those dark spots. So what's happening is you can definitely see the highs here, like this, and here. So I'm just going to essentially put a skim of filler over top of that, bring it all the way from this the rear edge all the way back across. So that'll be a big swath of filler there. Not too crazy about putting that much down, but most of that'll probably come off. And then get the filler that I've already talked about down there, and then clean all that stuff up, and probably be halfway decent with where this is. All right, about 5:45, and based on how far I'm getting, definitely not going to be able to get this in epoxy primer tonight. I got these spots. They should be the last spots that I have to take care of. I got this mostly flush. I'm not going to concern myself too much about that. Like I said, I still got a little bit of that corner to clean up there. It's a little rough. But otherwise, it's coming out okay. So I've scuffed up this side, and you can see that's all full of dings and dents and everything like that as well. I took some hammer and dolly to it a little bit, not too much. I got to get fiberglass on this, and then I'll kind of work my way across here to the other wing. Hopefully this one is not quite as bad. And then start working on the front here. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, I will be able to get all the filler on there that I want to get on at all, and then be ready for another coat of epoxy, but we'll see. Continuing on here, got the body filler all sanded down for the most part. I also got some fiberglass in these spots here. Tried to contour this as much as possible. The fiberglass is more for the fact that I did all the welding than to actually make this nice and pretty. And then I put some fiberglass also in these little dings in the very sharp point of the nose that I could not pull out with the stud puller. And then where I did pull those couple of things with the stud puller, I got to clean them up a little bit more. But I got fiberglass down there. So I'm going to take these down flush. This will all get filler over top of it just to kind of make it smoothed up. And then I got to start getting filler into these. So I'll take these down flush, get these all cleaned up, make one batch of filler up, and hopefully get the bonnet and these parts down here. Filler everywhere. That's one batch. Got all that there on the wing. Got the very front of the nose here. Kind of globbed it on there a little bit just because I want to give me more than enough to get a contour out of it. It's not going to be real thick when I'm done. Leaned into that with my jeans, as you can see right there. Whoops. But I need to do that little back part right there, so I'm going to mix up another batch here, do that, and then I'm going to start to cover the front here and see if I can get that done. It's about 7 o'clock, so I don't have a whole lot of time left, but maybe I can get this front portion done. One thing I do want to be careful of is that seam right there. I don't want to get body filler in that because, you know, that's not how it is, so we'll see how it goes. All right, got Bondo all over the nose here. Though you can't really tell here, let me show you. Got it all over the place, probably way too much, but that's all right. I'm going to sand most of it off, or at least I hope most of it off. But right now I'm going to concentrate on that little spot right there in the tail or the turn signal light area, and then work my way over. That stuff on the bonnet still, or on the nose, is still a little wet, so I'm not going to dig into that right this second. Again, using 40 grit sandpaper to get the contour, and then I'll move on to 80. This here is 60 grit, and I'm just taking the rough stuff off. I'm not going to sand it, try to contour it with 60 grit on there. I do have this guy, part of the door block kit that I got. It's obviously a circle or a dowel shaped, so I'm going to use that to try and get in there. In case my voice sounds a little weird, it's because I got my dust mask on. Alright, I got that pretty good. I'm happy with the way that feels on both sides, but now I got to try to roll this edge. So now I've got 320, so really light sandpaper. There's a little bit of imperfection in there, but nothing I'm going to worry about. So anyway, I just want to try to roll that edge. I might not be able to do it here because I got some good pock marks in there. I might have to fill this again. Yeah, so not too bad. I'm happy with the feel for that. Happy with the look of it. But I do have some, I don't think I've zoomed in very far here, far enough. There is a couple pock marks in there that the filler didn't quite get in there. So I'll definitely have to hit that again. There's a little imperfection right here. It looks like I have a little weld, just a little proud in there. I don't think I'm going to worry about that either. We'll see when I go to fill it if I can kind of smooth that out. But that's good. I'm happy with the way that came out. So now I'm just going to move on here. And I think I'll get the back of the bonnet, start sanding that up. And then it's already 7:30. I got about another half an hour or so that I'm going to hang out here. I should be able to get most of this filler down on the bonnet there, and the nose will probably going to have to wait till next time. Alright, so I contoured the nose here, the bottom, the leading edge of the nose pretty well. There's a couple spots in here that might be a little bit low. No, maybe not. Just using still a hard pad, not that soft one that I got, so that I could find metal here. You can see where it pokes through in various places. There's some residual stuff underneath. I'll go back and get that. Anyway, so I'm pretty happy with that. So there's two ways, a couple different ways I could sand this, right? So I could go like this, or I can go like this, or I can do a cross pattern, which I'm not going to do the cross pattern because that's mainly for a build primer. What I'm afraid of if I go like this is the contact area is only going to be like this. And I'm afraid that I'll be able to dig in spots, or if I go like this, the contact area is going to be spread across the whole nose. And I think, and I hope, that will prevent me from digging in spots where I don't want to dig in. Now, I don't expect it to be perfect, and I also expect it to take a while doing it like this, just because of the sheer amount of filler and the surface area that's on here. I also covered up most of those holes, looks like all but one actually, so I'll have to come from underneath and get those holes poked out, just like I did on the bonnet. But I think going like this is going to serve me better for not making the mistake and grooving out this the nose here, and hopefully give me a better product in the end. definitely not done, but coming along pretty good. I'm happy with how it's working out so far. There's a low spot here, and you can see a low spot here. I did more work on this side than I did on this side, but all in all, not too bad. I'm happy with the contour so far. Again, you can almost see I got a little bit of a low spot right there, which you can kind of see, but otherwise, yeah, progressing along. Outer wing is all that's got untouched yet, so not too bad. All right, folks, that's it for me for this evening. As always, thanks so much for watching, commenting, subscribing, liking, all that good YouTube stuff. But I'm happy with the way the Bonnet's coming along, especially that nose section. A little nervous of that. A little bit more Bondo on there than I'd like, but so be it. I just don't think I have the skill set to be able to pull out a nose straightening. If you paid attention to my channel all around this time last year, you knew that I was rooting for the Eagles pretty hard. And even though I watched that game on Sunday night, I feel sorry for that Bears kicker. Even though it was blocked, I still feel sorry for him. Anyway, have a good rest of your week. Go Eagles. Cheers.